Sky howdy, and welcome back to another episode of World Bigfoot Radio. What do you got going on there? Speaking of son-in-law, you want to talk about that MUFON report?
Yeah, always had, everywhere I've lived, I've had an excessive amount of UFOs. I've had them come down in the yard, and then I've had missing time after my first abduction. I was 4, so it's been a constant throughout my life. And my daughter and her fiance are staying with us for right now. And they are getting the crash course in it as well. And he's seen a lot since he's been here. He's seen the ETs, UFOs, that type of thing. And he actually happened to be out on the porch and he saw a UFO and started filming it. And the film that he did and the pictures are just phenomenal. Like, they are really, really good. And so he hollered to myself and to Pat, and we went out there and we watched it for about 20 minutes. He had already got the film done by then. And it was a saucer shape with multicolored lights all around it. But then there was a second one. And that one, to me, in my opinion, it looked almost like a sphere shaped because it was all solid red dots and it wasn't too far behind that one. And so he took the video, which turned out pretty good. And then he took stills of it, and they're just fantastic. And so he sent it into MUFON. And said, look at this stuff, you can't deny that the pics are good and the video's good. So he sent it to MUFON, and they came back and said that it was a class 1 sighting and that they had done their investigation. And by that, I took that to mean they had checked the skies, the airport and everything to find out what was up in the air that night. There were no planes or anything that I saw at that time when we were out there. But anyway, they came back and said it was a class 1 sighting and just really complimented him on the job that he did as far as the photos and the footage. And that as far as they were concerned, it was not terrestrial, meaning it was not one of our guys.
Right. Nothing that they could go, this is
No,
Czechoslovakian, no, nothing.
yeah, no, and it's really some of the best I've seen, and we have them. It's almost a nightly thing, it always has been really frequent anywhere I've lived. It seems to have amped up considerably. Pat was sitting in the living room. And again, I don't have curtains on the front of my house because they like to look in the windows. And he was sitting there and he looked through the window and here's this white saucer, like a disc shaped thing that right across from our house is a tree farm and it's all pine trees. And it went just the level of the pine trees and kept going 90 miles an hour, just right on down the road. And so he came in and told me, he said, "Did you see that?" And I said, "Well, I was watching TV and light flooded in the window, but I didn't actually see what made the light." And he said, "No, it was a UFO. It just went by super fast and was headed down going towards the creek." And I'm like, "Okay." So then, like 2 or 3 nights later, I'm laying in bed and it did it twice. It went down and then it came back and it goes just as fast as it can right past. It's like this bright white light, but it's saucer shaped.
Hmm.
And it's just above the tree lines. But ever since my son-in-law got that video, we've got helicopters every night. They hit about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and they'll go all night long. And they don't stop. I mean, we get them every single night now. Yeah. So it was pretty good. And you're gonna see in some of the photos and in the video, it looks like the peak of a house. It's because I have a pump house out in my yard. And it was not in the UFO was not in my yard. It was past that, but when the footage was taken, you can see just like the peak from the pump house out there. So if you wonder what that is, that's what it is.
Okay.
But
Cool.
it was out there. It stayed in that same spot out there for quite a while before it left. And I believe the other night, Ryan had went outside and there was another one out there in the same spot. So I don't know if it was the same one or not, but it was definitely out there. But we've had several people see the UFOs here as well. I mean, he has seen them multiple times here. I have seen them multiple times. Pat has. And we had a friend from Michigan come and visit us for a couple months. And he forgot his phone charger out in his car. And he got up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was, to walk out to the car to get the phone charger. And he turned around to come back in, and there was a UFO directly over the garage.
Huh.
And then I know I've sent it to you. I can send it again, but I've got that photo where there's a triangular shaped craft above my garage, and below it is an open portal, and there's a head coming out of the portal.
Yeah, we've shown that one before. They can go back and look at that old episode,
Yeah.
but they haven't seen the new one for the MUFON.
Yeah, I'll get that to you yet tonight.
Holy shit.